Hey everybody, so I thought today I'd take a quick look at one of my favorite portable gaming systems growing up. And no, it's not this Ambernick. I'm talking about two of these LCD Mattel handhelds that I've had in my collection since I was about 8 years old. These things are 40 years old. I've had them, and these are my originals since back in the day. The first one I'm going to take a look at here is BurgerTime. It was released here by Mattel Electronics, based on the arcade game at the time. And we didn't have Game Boy back then in the early 80s. That didn't come along until about 89. This is from 81, 82. Oh, actually, it's 82, I guess it says on the front. The other one I'm looking at, I believe, was maybe 81. I gotta look. In any case, this is the BurgerTime model. I used to play this a lot on the bus. It's in very good condition considering its age and considering I was such a young kid at the time. I guess, was lucky enough to take care of my things. A lot of my older stuff seems to be hanging in there pretty decently. Screen's not in bad shape. So with this one, you had a few features. You had a nice little thumb joystick here. You can move up and down, left and right. You had your pepper button. This here will reset the game back to a fresh start if you took a pen or something and just kind of poked a hole in there. Pencil, sound on and off. The only thing I kind of did, I remember there was a label here just with some copyright information and so forth that had worn out over the years, so it kind of peeled off. Also, the screw went missing. I think at one point I just took the screw out because I got tired of looking for a screwdriver for when eventually the batteries would run out, which honestly took a long time for the batteries to wear out, because this is essentially a non-Nintendo Game & Watch. Even though this does not tell the time, it uses similar technology where you have these LCD graphics overlaid onto a reflective background that, once you have a light source, will show the graphics. It's a fairly decent little port of the popular arcade game at the time, and it took these two cell batteries here, which I will show you here. Slide that off. I have a couple batteries here, thought I'd put in just for demonstration purposes. And as soon as you snap that on, the game has come to life. So you have your enemies, you have the egg, you have a pickle, you have the hot dog, and of course you have Peter Pepper, I believe was his name, the chef. And to start it, you hit pepper first. You're going to have a score, your amount of lives, and your pepper that you can use. You start off with 4. If I recall, it resets every time you do a level. So in order to start this, you actually have to push up. And that's one of the things I think the sticker on the back would tell you to do to start the game, is to push up on this stick. So we're going to just try around here. You push down, you can pop the buns down, the patties. One thing I'm concerned about is over the age. The stick seems to be a little less responsive than I remember it. You hit the pepper, you can kill the guy. One thing you can't do on this version of BurgerTime is have a enemy fall with the condiment, or whatever you want to call it, your buns or burger patties. In the arcade, you'd be able to take them for a ride. You also have these ice cream cones here that will give you extra pepper. And once you complete the level, he does this little happy dance. Now, as this game gets a little more difficult and ramps up, it starts adding these little dividers here. So you can see I'm standing on one. It will not let you go down when you, or up when you're under them. And it just adds a little more difficulty to the game. It's also a little more difficult to play this as I'm staring through the camera here. In any case, yeah, I love the crap out of this. And like I said at the time, the only other devices we had were the Colecos. the tabletop Colecos, and some of the more popular ones from like, you had the little Radio Shack guys, the lit LCD ones, and those were a little more bulky to carry around. They were portable, but something like this you could put in your backpack as a kid, or the school bag pockets, and it was very thin and very portable. And I spent many a time with this at the bus stop on the bus, and once the end of the school year came along and they didn't care what we did, I would pull this and take this to school just to kill time in between classes, like study halls and stuff. Because once again, I mean, this was 1981, 82, 83, and Game Boy wouldn't show up for another 6-7 years or so. But in any case, this is BurgerTime. So what I'm going to do here is, I only have one set of these batteries offhand, and funny enough, they come in 3-packs. So I'm going to just pop these out real quick. They pretty much just fall right out. I may actually see if I can find a little screw to put in there. So I'll put him aside here, and I'll show you the other one I have, which I spent a lot of time with, also from Mattel, and this was Dungeons and Dragons, the computer fantasy game by Mattel Electronics. They repurposed this later, a few years later, for Masters of the Universe. It's the same gameplay, but where they used He-Man graphics, Skeletor and He-Man. So instead of a dragon, you had Skeletor, and He-Man was over here, if I recall. Plus, the He-Man one had a really neat little art design behind the imprinted on the reflective part of the screen. So now this one I do have the sticker on the back for here, and it even tells you all the information, the copyright information, and put the game in demonstration mode, hold down attack button for 5 seconds if game malfunctions, blah blah blah. And see, this one is from 1981, and I remember this one. I remember actually getting this one, even though the day I purchased it, I remember it was at the mall, and KB Toys had it down at the front of the store by the register. They would always put their marked down red tag toys and whatnot, and this was one of them. And I think, if I recall, it was marked down to, like, I don't know, I want to say like $11.99 or something. It was pretty cheap. I mean, originally I think it was about 25 or something like that. It was around $10. I don't know. It was very cheap, and my mother was pretty good about, hey, this is a nice deal, and she would let me get it if it was on sale or something. And even though this is all these years later, I remember specifically seeing this and buying this at KB Toys with the price, and then they put a line through it with some red pen and write, $8.99, $10.99, whatever, just like they used to do with the old Star Wars figures, when they were clearing them out, 2 for $1. Same idea here, though. It takes the same batteries, and these are the little pocket hearing aid batteries, as we used to always call them. Calculator batteries, hearing aid batteries. So this game's a little more complicated, and I'll be honest with you, even now I still have trouble trying to remember and figure out how to play this game. It's kind of weird. But you start the game. Yeah, attack starts it, I think. And then move, I think, allows you to select a level. And then attack again. Let's just start. So you have your little guy in the middle here. This is a pit that, if you're not careful, you can fall into. And you have one chance to get out of it, because you have this grappling hook down here that allows you to get out. So this allows you to move to the direction you want to go. Each floor of the dungeon is a letter plus a number variable. So you can have like A1, B3, C4, and so on. I'm trying to remember. I don't recall where it tops out at. In any case, you pick a direction and you hit move. Your little guy will move. Now I'm on B0. So I could go this way, and it takes me to B9. I hit it again. It should take me to B8, I believe. Now that maybe fall in the pit. I use a little grappling hook. Anyway, the key to this game is to kill the dragon. But in order to do so, you have to find a bow and arrow. And the only way you're going to beat them is if you find that your dude will shoot an arrow. It's a very weird game. It's very difficult. Even as a kid, I had some trouble figuring out how to play this. And it's not because I was a kid necessarily, because I had the Intellivision Dungeons and Dragons games, and I loved the crap out of them. And you could arguably say they were a lot more complicated. You had the keypad and something like Treasure of Tarman, where the first real RPG I think I played, where you're moving through that first-person dungeon and everything, and you had all these items you had to pick up and monsters to kill. So it wasn't necessarily that I was a kid and it was complicated, because even now this game I think is a little complicated. Sometimes I just kind of wing it, you know. I have beaten it, but then I wonder how I did it. How do I find these things? So you keep hitting this and you'll just advance letters. Now, the other thing is there's a bat up here, and he carries you around. See? And he kind of just drops you, I think, on a random floor. I think that's what his gimmick's supposed to be. I wish I had the directions. But in any case, these are two of my fondest devices that I own, and I just kind of held on to them over the years, between homes and moves and just everything in my life, and they work great. They're in great condition, very clean. And but this one especially, this one's a lot smaller than even the BurgerTime one. You can see it here a little bit. So this one was even more pocketable, and just very, very easy to put aside here. I have a AAA battery here. Maybe I can use it as some type of comparison in terms of how small it is. So it's pretty tiny. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to do today. Just show off a couple of these. I thought I'd pull them out, and I know there's plenty of videos on these things. But I some of my fondest memories are sitting here and playing these in the back seat of the car on trips, or on the bus, or even just in grade school at the time. And they were a neat little complement to my army of tabletops that I had from Coleco and Epoch, which I've shown in past videos. So, yep. So that's pretty much it. And thanks again for joining me, and have a good one.